Hey guys, welcome to day one of remote learning. Hopefully you guys are having a good time at home. We're going to start just by doing a little bit of review on the stuff that we left off with before we went on this strange break. So if you guys would take out a notebook or a separate sheet of paper, something to write on, go ahead and write down number one. We're going to multiply rational expressions. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. Make sure you pause the video whenever you need. And yeah, this is just review. So do what you got to do. Okay, so for this first problem, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. We are going to notice that in each of the fractions, you're going to see some addition and subtraction signs, which should lead you to think that we need to do some factoring for this problem. So I'm going to start by factoring the numerator of the second fraction. Okay, and you notice that there's two terms here. So I notice right away that between those two terms, they have what's called a greatest common factor. Hopefully you guys notice that. So I'm going to factor out that greatest common factor, and it should look something like this. I'm going to rewrite that first fraction because there's no factoring that needs to be done there. So 1 over 2b squared, and then times. Once I take out that greatest common factor, I notice that the biggest number that will divide evenly into 4b to the third and negative 6b squared is going to be 2b to the second. Okay, once I take that out, I should be left with 2b minus 3. Okay. In my denominator of the second fraction, down here, there's no greatest common factor, so I'm going to jump right in and open my sets of parentheses and start guessing and checking until I have a final factored answer here. So in my first slots, right here and right here, I notice that there needs to be a 2b and another b. Then in my second locations, okay, right here and right here, I notice that the numbers have to multiply to get me to 6. But we also have to be able to combine our like terms to get us to a negative 7. So my first guess and my first try would be to use 3 and 2, just because those are simple numbers that multiply to get us to 6. So let's try it out, see what happens. I'm going to put a 3 here and a 2 here. Okay, so if I multiply 2b times 2, that's 4b. If I multiply 3 times b, that is going to get me to 7b, which is what I wanted. I need it to be negative 7, so I'm going to put minus signs for both of my parentheses. And there we go, we're factored. I'm going to erase my little checking work here. And now is the fun part. We look and see if there's anything that can be simplified. And if you remember, simplifying occurs when you have something that's the same in the numerator as is in the denominator, which means that that would simplify out to be the number 1. So I notice that in the numerator and the denominator of my second fraction, I have 2b minus 3. They have that in common, so I'm going to go ahead and cross those out because that would just equal 1. The second thing I notice is that I have a 2b squared in my numerator of the second fraction and 2b squared in the denominator of the first fraction. So that will also simplify out to be 1. So I look for anything else that needs to be simplified. I don't see anything. So my final answer is going to be 1 divided by b minus 2. Awesome. That's our little review of rational expressions. Every day of these remote learning days, we are going to be reviewing rational expressions just to make sure we don't forget it so that we can test on it when we get back. Okay,